sometimes in life we behave a certain way that people might not always understand. My approach is always to look at why there's been certain action, emotion, and results instead of trying to understand what the person has done. So I look at the causative aspects of why people have said and done certain things. Watch this video and we'll come back to you explaining exactly what that's all about.
Hello, my name is Shakira and I am still in the process of doing research and finding out exactly how many generations before me lived here, but to my knowledge I am the 4th generation of my family who live and grew up in Bo-Kaap. For the past 2 years I've been getting angrier and angrier about the situation in the area that I live in, that I grew up in, that my great-grandfather built a house in, that my mother went to school in, that my granny lived in. And I'm angry now to the point where I cannot keep quiet anymore and where I am going to make a change. I have been working on a secret project that kind of came to me in the middle of the night about 2 weeks ago, and I started implementing it. I just had the most inspiring meeting with a 60-something-year-old lady who grew up in this community. I am in the next 10 minutes going to have another meeting with somebody else who's going to help me. And yeah, I guess I'm not quite ready yet to just share the information about the project that I'm working on, but what I do just want to say is that I'm tired of the way that this community is being treated. I'm tired of the tourism industry in South Africa and tourists coming in and out of this area, going to view all of Two Roads and thinking that they understand Cape Malay history. I'm sorry, but you understand nothing about slavery, you understand nothing about Islam, you understand nothing about what it means to be Cape Malay, you understand nothing about our food. You come here with your Euro trash tour guides, you walk around the area, you talk the world of kak to tourists, they believe you, and then the community of Bo-Kaap doesn't benefit at all. Every single one of the businesses in this area that have opened up in this area within the last maybe 3 to 5 years are owned by people who are outside, people who come from outside this community, are run by outside investors from Europe or wherever they come from. Like, I'm just so pissed off. I'm pissed off about the way that things are happening in this community. I'm pissed off that the city of Cape Town doesn't give a f***. I'm pissed off that the people within this community are not, they want to make a change but they don't know how. You also can't blame them because they are from the older generation. They don't understand the way that online works. They don't understand how fast things happen these days. So you know what? I took it upon myself to make the change, and this is my vouch to the community of Bo-Kaap, to my Facebook committee, to myself, to say that I'm going to make the change. I am going to make the change because I'm tired of seeing the way that things are happening around here. Every single day within the last 2 years, you should see the buses that are in Wales Street. It's like ridiculous. They come in here, they come by the hundreds. I'm not even exaggerating, by the hundreds. They come into this community, they fucking take over, they disrespect our privacy, our religion, our personal space. They walk onto your stoop, they look into my house, they make us feel like we're animals that they're here to take photos of, they're here to video. People come into this area, they make movies here, they make millions. Other people from other countries, America, Europe, France, Italy, whatever, they come here, they steal our recipes, they go back to Europe, they print cookbooks and they make millions and they give back to this community. They give nothing back to this community, and I'm so tired of seeing how we are being disrespected every single day. And within the last 2 years, it has amplified tenfold. It is so intense. I don't think any of you understand, if you don't live here, how bad it is. How many, the tourists are like ants. You know, the hungry businessmen with their fucking millions of rands of investments or euros or dollars or wherever the they come from, they come in here, they throw money around as if money is supposed to solve all the socio-economic issues that we have within our community. Nobody goes into the flats to see what's going on there, where the people who are living beneath the middle class live. Nobody gives a about that. All people care about is going to Rose Street and Kapini Street and looking at colorful houses. You go around, you search Bo-Kaap online, all you see is colorful houses. We have heritage and history that is so deep, and nobody cares about it. All people care about is the fact that we have colorful houses. The colorful houses. Ask us about slavery. Ask us about our religion. Ask us about what we believe in. Ask us about the culture, about how we came here, about how we were dumped here. Ask us about that but no, all the tourism agencies, the tourism industry, the city of Cape Town, all they want to do is they bring people here, they take our money, they show them the colorful houses, and that's it. That's it. Movies get made here, shoots happen here, all that and the community is nothing but suffering. Ever since I started working on the secret project, which I'm not ready to tell anybody about yet, ever since I started working on this project, all that I've heard from the community of Bo-Kaap is that people are angry. People are so f***ing angry with what is happening in this area, and I am going to change that shit. Gonna change it. Gonna change this area, even if I have to f***ing protest every day. I'm gonna change the way that things are done here because I can't take it anymore. I am a 25-year-old girl who grew up here, who's had my entire ancestry line before me grow up here. Movies made there all the time. Okay. Sorry, I just read a comment. I'm a 25-year-old girl who wants to move out of my mother's house, but you know what? I want to live in Bo-Kaap, but guess what? I can't afford it. Why? Because the rates are up so high, because the rent is so expensive that people like me, people from the middle class, we cannot afford to live here. I cannot afford to move out of my mother's house and buy my own place in this area because it's too expensive, because the city of Cape Town made it an exclusive place only for people who have euros, and I'm tired of that shit. No way. This is me making a promise to you, the world, that I, Shakira Dramat, am going to change the way that things are done in Bo-Kaap. Mark my words, I have to go to my next meeting. I love you all. Goodbye.
I know that many of you are sitting on your seat wondering what just happened. I'm not here to judge Shakira about the way that she's spoken on the video. That's least of my worries. They say that for us to understand the situation, we don't need to look at what people do, but why they do it. I was watching you throughout watching that program. Are you starting to shed tears about this? You're highly frustrated.
I am highly frustrated. Yes. I wouldn't say I'm at the tears shedding point yet, because I feel like when you shed tears, you're giving up maybe.
Did that not happen on the video?
Maybe a little bit, yeah, but that's more out of frustration.
Out of frustration.
You know, it's not, they're not sad tears.
No. I just want to start from the beginning.
Yeah, of course.
The beginning for me is that I want to clear up something with audiences first, and that is that I think I want to get past the idea that a lot of people's going to say, sitting back, Muslim girl, can she not behave? What do you say to that before we get into the crux of this issue? Because I want to get those people out of the way first.
You know, in the beginning, the first, you know, when things are trending, the first couple of days that I got quite a few messages, and quite a few people did mention that, and some people even mentioned, you know, the fact that I wasn't wearing a scarf and those sorts of things. But then I considered deleting the video because I felt so bad about it after reading those messages. But then I realized, even though I might not be proud of the way that I delivered my message, the message is being heard nonetheless. So I'm at the point now where it's happened, and it's actually started a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a revolution, that's a big word, but you know, it's gotten the ball rolling, and for that I'm grateful. So if you're gonna hound me about the language, then that's okay, but eventually you're gonna want to jump on board with the change that's happening. So
okay, so I'm happy that you have that attitude towards
it. It is what it is.
Because people can hold you down from the actual focus of what you're dealing with by looking at all the peripheral issues instead of that. So early 1800s, the slave trade is stopped. People in Bo-Kaap are artisans, they're carpenters, but things change and slavery supposedly stopped. What I hear in that video is you are saying that we like animals sitting in the zoo while people are looking at us. Now, I also understand that this particular area will bring in revenue for the city of Cape Town, and you naturally, as Book-Up, I don't know what you guys call yourself as a community. By the way, I need to mention to you guys, my mother phoned me just before the show. Before we continue, because I don't want to get into the light-hearted stuff, and I need to remind our audiences that she too came from there. They had a butchery there. She slid down those cobble street roads, so the Book-Up means a lot to her. And I think it's connected me then to the story because she was born there. So I'm connected there. In any case, for you that might think that I look a bit Indian, what have I got to do with the Book-Up? My mother was born there. Okay. So, but looking at this issue, all of that's happened. So you look at the fact that you feel the way that you do. We look at the aspect of the fact that tourism needs to happen. But what I hear is you saying that the balance is not there at all.
Yeah.
This is a one-way street.
I love the fact that you use the word balance, because also a lot of people looked at that video and judged how I felt as a person about the situation, you know. But in that moment, I was quite heated and I was angry. And so what all you see in that video is just anger, you know.
But that's
doesn't mean, yeah, of course.
Are you supposed to go out and say, you know what, guys, with a smiley face, this is what they're doing. You know what? Merry Christmas, you know? I mean, like, really.
Also true, you know, but the reason I'm saying I like the fact that you use the word balance is because that's all it needs to be. I'm not saying that I hate tourists, because some people felt that is what I was saying. I'm not saying I don't want them to come to Book-Up. I'm just saying that when you do come to Book-Up, you know, a couple of things. One, respect the community and its traditions, and two, give a little bit back. You know?
It's not effectively the tourist. The tourist wouldn't know better. It's really the industry that you're talking about.
And to a certain degree, I will admit also the community. You know, when I went to Thailand a couple of years back, and when I went there, before I went into the temple, they told me cover my shoulders, because that's something that the Thai people do. Now, if nobody is telling you before you walk into a community or before you walk into the mosque or whatever, you know, do this or put a headscarf on or whatever the situation may be, not because that's what you believe, but just because that's the way of the land, you know. If no one's going to tell you that, you're not going to know. So I guess, you know, it is just all about balance, finding a way to make the community just feel like they're not being used and abused, because that's how it feels right now.
So you're saying that you've been tapping your fingers on the shoulders of various people in your community to hear what they're feeling, and you've been the stethoscope for that.
Yeah.
The tourism is fine. We understand that tourism is linked to financial input. Tourism equals input into an economy.
Yeah.
We get that point.
Yes.
But you are saying that your community is not getting anything back from that.
With the amount of tourism that is currently happening within Book-Up, I feel like the social standards and some of the situations that are currently happening there, especially, you know, sort of within the flats and with some of the children and in some of the fields and stuff, that can all be corrected with just the tourism that's happening in Book-Up, not even the tourism that's happening in Cape Town, not even taking anything away from the city of Cape Town. There's more than enough business to uplift the community, even if it's just with a small percentage of it, but it's not happening. That's why people are angry. And I think people are also angry and at this boiling point, like the point that I came to when I made that video, because it's been happening for years. I'm only 26 years old, and only for the last about 10 years, you know, have I seen this rapid change, and only within the last 2 to 3 years have I become this angry. But that's me. Now imagine someone who's older than me, who has been living in that community longer than me, and watching this for years before me, how angry they must be.
Are you saying that your outburst and your display of anger is a reflection on many of the people in Book-Up?
I would say so, and I can say that confidently based on the reaction of that video alone, and the feedback that I've gotten in the inboxes and the emails and the messages. It's been an overwhelming response of people who have, you know, some people have told me their stories and messaged me and sent me emails with such heartwarming and heartbreaking and sad stories about how they've had to sell their house, how they had to move out, how they tried to make a difference a few years ago and then gave up. You know, like so many different stories that people have shared with me, and that I hope to one day also share with the public, so that they can know that I'm not just this random girl who's, you know, speaking and just blowing.
Well, it didn't sound like a random girl on that video, because what I picked up was that you are genuinely passionate about what's going on, and we could see that happening. And one needs to sit back, and I watched this with my producers, and I said that, listen, I don't think this is a girl looking for attention. I think she's looking for attention to a particular matter, which might be a very real matter, because I visit the Book-Up because my mom's family, there are some that passed away recently there, and I was there. And yes, you're right. There are lots of flats, lots of kids running barefoot around. There is poverty, whether we like it or not. It happens in the region. And why should that happen when the Bo-Kaap is part of Cape Town's serious tourist destinations?
It's one of the biggest tourist destinations that there is in Cape Town, you know, and it's just, it's frustrating just on so many different levels. For me, it started out, you know, being a Cape Malay is extremely important to me, and I know that in this era that we are of cultural diversity, and you know that me saying that might upset some people, but other people identify with other things, and I identify with being Cape Malay and being Muslim, and it's within my core and it's who I am, you know. So my frustration really started to build up when I just felt that my heritage was not being conveyed in an authentic way. That was one of my biggest issues, is that the type of tourism that's currently happening within the area, it's not authentic, and that is frustrating me. And yes,
you know what I like about this while listening to you is the fact that this is not some type of organization you're dealing with that has a mandate to promote heritage and direct that story a certain way. You're an individual that's living and experiencing the issue. And I think that makes this vastly different. And then I'm not sure if you are aware of the fact that you might have just catapulted yourself from here to the next level of advocacy on this matter.
Yeah,
I don't know if that dawned on you yet.
It did dawn on me, which I think is also one of the reasons I feel a little bit cringy about that video. It's not because I'm embarrassed about what I'm saying or anything. I think it's just because I've now become sort of this mascot or ambassador for what's happening within the area, you know, and people are looking to me and saying like, you're such an inspiration, and I feel like you are actually going to make the difference, and you know, all of these other things. So I have realized that, and it's a big responsibility, but I think one that I'm willing to take on, because I believe in myself, and I believe within the resources that I have access to, and the people from the community that I have already interacted with. I believe that we can make some sort of a positive change.
Shakira, you detail the problem in detail.
Yeah.
We've seen the detail there.
Yes.
You think about possible solutions. What are you thinking about?
Am I allowed to talk about the project that I would like to work on at this point? Okay.
Because on the video you say it's secret.
Oh, no.
But if you're happy to talk about that, I'm happy to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was secret when I expected the video to only get about 150 views, but I feel like now, you know, it's moved beyond that point, so I'm just taking things as they come.
Because people want to know what the secret is now.
Yes. You know, I sometimes wish that before I had posted that video, I would have known that it was going to get such a wide reaction, because then I could have planned it a bit
No, but here's the thing. The minute you plan a video, the reaction rate is
also
there.
true.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I do. Let me first say this and tribute to the committees and all the bodies and organizations that are currently working within Bo-Kaap and have been working within Bo-Kaap. Like, for example, the Bo-Kaap Ratepayers Committee, like, they've been around for a while, and you know, there's a lady there named Jackie, and she's been doing some great work with regards to things like gentrification in the land, and you know, all of those sorts of things that's happening not only in Bo-Kaap but also in areas like Woodstock and Salt River. I mean, it's happening all over Cape Town. It's an issue within our city right now, but obviously Bo-Kaap is close to my heart because that's where I grew up. And I'm not a political person. I'm not a person who has many. I mean, I have views, but I wouldn't say I'm involved in politics, and it's not an industry or a field that I'm looking to tap into. I want to find a way to help the community from a social aspect, from an aspect that's going to help people feel better about themselves, about their community, about their prospects, about their future, about the opportunities that they have. Because right now, I realize that people are angry about tourism, like me as well. But like it or not, it's a huge opportunity, you know? So I just want to find a way that... So the project, let me just tell you about the project that I started. So the project I started is called Stories of Bo-Kaap. And initially, Faisal, when I started this, it was just meant to be an Instagram page. I'm not even going to lie. Because I love social media, I'm obsessed with social media, and I'm fairly good at it. And I realized that, you know, there wasn't a platform online.
Well, you bet we've just realized that in that video. So.
Also true.
Social media is about telling the story as it is.
You understand? Yeah. So So yeah, I just wanted to create this Instagram page where I could tell an authentic story. Because when you go on Instagram and you search Book Up, there are probably hundreds of thousands of tagged photos. And all they are is just of those two roads that I'm speaking about, Kapini Street and Rose Street. Just colorful houses. But there's so much culture, there's so much heritage, there's so many stories, and I just realized, nobody is telling these stories. So I wanted to create a platform where you could hear an authentic, a clear and a true voice of someone who embodies Cape Malay or anything Book Up. Those two things. Whatever your voice was, as long as it was authentic and it was Cape Malay or Book Up, I wanted to hear your story and I wanted to share it. So that's what my Instagram page was meant to be, but now it's catapulted into a lot of other things. And naturally, I'm a businesswoman and an entrepreneur, so my brain just, has all these things happening when I see these opportunities. And I'm starting to realize that there's a huge opportunity here for the community as a whole. So I want to try and establish a place where we offer authentic tourism within Book Up by people who are from the area, because currently all the tour guides, or not all, majority of the tour guides are not from the area. And when you come into Book Up, I would imagine that as a tourist you want to see a local, you want to hear the stories of a local.
It's like going to Robben Island. It was nice going with Ahmed Kathrada because he was there and he spent time there, so he could tell you the real story.
Exactly. And things that a tour guide will never know, no matter how many textbooks they read, no matter how many videos they watch, how many history seminars they attend. You're never going to get the true story. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find a way to use tourism to uplift the community and to bring them together. And the way that I see it, it's already happening. The tourism industry within Book Up is already so big. So we won't be able to eradicate it, even if that's what we wanted to do. That's not possible. So the way I see what we can focus on now is offering a service and a product that is so well delivered and that is so authentic that people will want to work and come to tours through us, so that we can uplift the community in that way.
Are you prepared to embrace the current structures that are coming in, and you use the very direct model where you say that people come onto the stoop and they look in and they, so those tourists that come in through their tour guides, are you prepared to embrace those tour guides and say, listen, prepared to work with you guys, but we need a cohesive model with this community. We're not trying to take you out of the system. You've been doing that, that's your livelihood. But you need to pay your tax back to this community. That's what you're saying.
Yes. I wouldn't say that, I haven't thought about it that far. I haven't thought that I definitely want to form partnerships with a lot of the tourism bodies that are in existence already. But for me, the way that I see Stories of Book Up growing is that it becomes this hub where everyone in Book Up that wants to make a difference within the area, we come together and we find a way that we can do it together. Okay, so you want to offer a cooking tour, for example, or you want to tell a story, for example, or you want to be a tour guide. Let's find a way that we can do it together. If you don't have a tour license, let's try and find a way where we can maybe finance you, so that if you don't have a job right now, you're from the community, you maybe didn't even finish high school, who knows? Let's find a way where we can get funds together, where we can send you to go to get a tourism license, and then you can be the guide from the area. That's uplifting somebody's life while still keeping an authentic Book Up story. There's so many opportunities that are right now just not being utilized, and I just want to find a way to utilize the opportunities that it's in a way that's going to benefit the community. That's the most important. Whatever, in a way that's going to benefit the community. Whatever the whatevers are going to be, you know what I mean? That's the goal.
Still need to piece that together. And I don't think it's fully your responsibility to do that. That's a collaborative process with many people and organizations. But I think right now it's my opinion that somebody needed to start the catalytic process, and perhaps that's what you've done. I want you guys to watch what's on the screen right now. Okay, so on screen you see that Book Up is an historic area that became home to many Muslims. Many were skilled tailors, carpenters, shoemakers and builders. Also many freed slaves after the abolition of slavery in 1834, and most people who lived here were captured in the 17th and 18th century and enslaved by the Dutch East Indian Company that we know about. It's got nothing to do with me, by the way. So effectively, 1834, people were actually freed from the slavery. And I just want to hop back to the video because you feel that you're enslaved in a way again.
Yeah.
I want you to expand on that.
Okay, so I live in one of these prominent roads, the popular ones, you know, and my house is one of those houses that is the most Instagrammed, you know, and then...
Oh, interesting. so you look at paintings and you go to somebody that's been to South Africa. And,
literally, like I go online and I see my house. I sometimes see adverts and I'm like, oh, look, there's my house over there. You know, so I'm living in the heart of where it's happening.
It's currently what we search on YouTube when we're looking for royalty free.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah. You know, and I feel like it's just getting out of hand. You know, people they come onto our stoep. We've just accepted it already. You know, there's nothing we can do about it. But when you come onto my stoop, you don't have to look into my gate to see what my house looks like. That's just rude. And I'm not even going to lie. Sometimes I scream from outside my house. I don't look inside your gate like that because it's just... It's disrespectful from a person to a person.
Do you think it's the tourist or do you think it's the guide that's saying, listen, there are limitations?
They're not with guides all the time. You must also know that tourists wander around. They're not all of them are with groups. Some of them just come with Ubers and, you know, they just here, book up's a nice place. So some of them are with groups, but a lot of them are also just wandering around. And it's not always just tourists. It's also photographers and filmmakers and all of these other kinds of people that just, you know, come in there and do whatever they do.
You're talking about filmmakers that makes millions of rands per morning?
Whatever they make. You know. So yeah, it's just very frustrating, and they make a noise, and they're not considerate. That's the thing. And I feel like, doesn't matter which culture you come from, doesn't matter which country you come from, there are certain things that you just know to be considerate about. This is somebody's home. I understand that it's a tourist destination, but people live here. Try to have some respect for that, you know. I understand that you're at your 6 a.m. call and you guys have X amount of locations to shoot for the day. But if it's 6 a.m. on a Sunday, I don't want to hear you and your crew on my stoop clunking around and saying, stand like this or do this, or, you know.
But you'd be okay with that if the community was getting back something?
Listen, it's already happening. So if it's going to happen, at least give back. I'm in no way trying to change what's happening right now. I'm just trying to make people aware and potentially have it happen in a way that the community does benefit, yes.
Shakira, thanks for coming to the show. Would you be open to coming on to another episode if I bring in the tourism department here to say, listen, this is what community is saying. What is your answers to some of these issues? Can we work on solutions? Would you be prepared to come into that episode?
Yes, I think I would be.
Then we'll welcome you back. Well, Shakira seems to have quieted down during the episode, but the problem has not really gone away. Right after this, please know that the problem continues and exacerbates in the community. It's all fine and well coming onto the show and talking about what we're doing, but when Shakira goes home, like many other people in Boerka, the problem continues and the discussion continues. What I love is the fact that she's decided to talk about this. We need to be open about talking about anything in the interest of solving those issues. We come back in a couple of weeks on another episode where we bring in the tourism department and see what they have to say.